Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We also give all honor to Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravartikacharya Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for graciously giving us this Bhagavatam commentary and translation. And of course, then we also give our honor to Srimati Radharani. Yadi seva vanchitasyama yasya kripaya vayam labhema sarvam prapunama prayojanam damni Shri Bhagavat Pade Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha yadina jani mahetutam astadasasu sahasreshu shlokanam bhagavat oktishu radharanimna vindhamatada nisfalam bhagavat adhyayanam radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all our efforts are in vain. So, we are continuing from Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, chapter 24, text 21. Nilarakto palamboja kalerandivar akaram hamsa sarasa chakrava karandava nikujitam. In that great lake, there were different types of lotus flowers. Some of them were bluish, and some of them were red. Some of them grew at night, some in the day, and some, like the Indivara lotus flower, in the evening. Combined together, the lotus flowers filled the lake so full that the lake appeared to be a great mine of such flowers. Consequently, on the shores there were swans and cranes, chakravakas, karanadavas, and other beautiful water birds standing about. Purport. The word akaram, mine, is significant in this verse. For the reservoir of water appeared like a mine from which different types of lotus flowers were produced. Some of the lotus flowers grew during the day, some at night, and some in the evening. And accordingly they had different names and different colors. All these flowers were present on that lake, and because the lake was so calm and quiet and filled with lotus flowers, superior birds like swans, chakravakas, and karanadavas stood on the shores and vibrated their different songs, making the entire scene attractive and beautiful. As there are different types of human beings, according to the association of the three qualities of material nature, there are similarly different types of birds, bees, trees, etc. Everything is divided according to the three qualities of material nature. Birds like swans and cranes who enjoy clear waters and lotus flowers are different from crows who enjoy filthy places. Similarly, there are persons who are controlled by the modes of ignorance and passion, and those who are controlled by the mode of goodness. The creation is so varied that there are always varieties found in every society. Thus, on the bank of this lake, all the superior birds lived to enjoy that atmosphere created by that great reservoir filled with lotus flowers. Text 22. Mata Brahmara Soshvarya Krishnaroma Latangripam Padma Kosa Rajo Dikshu Vikshipat Pavanotsvanam Vikshipat Pavanotsavam. There were various trees and creepers on all sides of the lake, and there were mad bumblebees humming all about them. The trees appeared to be very jolly due to the sweet humming of the bumblebees, and the saffron which was contained in the lotus flower was being thrown into the air. These all created such an atmosphere that it appeared as though a festival were taking place there. Purport. Trees and creepers are also different types of living beings. When bumblebees come upon trees and creepers to collect honey, certainly such plants become very happy. On such an occasion, the wind also takes advantage of the situation by throwing pollen or saffron contained in the lotus flower. All this combines with the sweet vibration created by the swans and the calm of the water. The Prachetas considered such a place to be like a continuous festival. From this description, it appears that the Prachetas reached Shivaloka, which is supposed to be situated near the Himalaya mountains. Text 23. Tatra Gandharvam Akarnya Divya Marga Manoharam Vishishmyu Rajaputraste Mridanga Pavan Bhadyanu. The sons of the king became very much amazed when they heard vibrations from various drums and kettle drums, along with other orderly musical sounds pleasing to the ear. Purport. In addition to the various flowers and living entities about the lake, there were also many musical vibrations. The void of the impersonalists, which has no variegatedness, is not at all pleasing compared with such a scene. Actually, one has to attain the perfection of Satchidananda, eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Because the impersonalists deny these varieties of creation, they cannot actually enjoy transcendental bliss. The place where the Prachetas arrived was the abode of Lord Śiva. Impersonalists are generally worshippers of Lord Śiva, but Lord Śiva is never without variety in his abode. Thus, wherever one goes, whether to the planet of Lord Śiva, Lord Vishnu, or Lord Brahma, there is variety to be enjoyed by persons full in knowledge and bliss. Texts 24 through 25. Tarhyeva sarashastasman nishkramantam sahunugam upagiyamanam amara pravaram vibudhanugai taptahema nikayabam siti kantam trilochanam prashad samukam viksha pranemorjata kautuka. The Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Śiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold, his throat was bluish, and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians, who were glorifying him. As soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Śiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. Purport. The word Vibudhanugai indicates that Lord Śiva is always accompanied by the denizens of the higher planets known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras. They are very expert in musical science, and Lord Śiva is worshipped by them constantly. In pictures, Lord Śiva is generally painted white, but here we find that the color of his skin is not exactly white, but like molten gold, or a glowing yellowish color. Because Lord Śiva is always very, very merciful, his name is Asutosa. Amongst all the demigods, Lord Śiva can be pacified even by the lowest class of men, who need only offer him obeisances and leaves of a bale tree. Thus his name is Asutosa, which means that he is pleased very quickly. Generally, those who are very fond of material prosperity approach Lord Śiva for such benediction. The Lord, being very merciful, quickly awards all the blessings the devotee asks of him. The demons take advantage of this leniency and sometimes take benedictions from Lord Śiva which can be very dangerous to others. For instance, Vrakasura took the benediction from Lord Śiva by which he could kill everyone he touched on the head. Although Lord Śiva sometimes very liberally gives such benedictions to his devotees, the difficulty is that the demons, being very cunning, sometimes want to experiment improperly with such benedictions. For instance, after receiving his benediction, Vrakasura tried to touch the head of Lord Śiva. Devotees of Lord Vishnu, however, have no desire for such benedictions, and Lord Vishnu does not give his devotees benedictions which would cause disturbance to the whole world. Text 26. Satan prapanarti haro Bhagavan dharma vatsala dharma gyan shila sampanam prita pritan uvachaha. Lord Śiva became very pleased with the Prachetas because generally Lord Śiva is the protector of pious persons and the persons of gentle behavior. Being very much pleased with the princes, he began to speak as follows. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu or Krishna is known as Bhaktivatsala, and herein we find Lord Śiva described as Dharma Vatsala. Of course, the word Dharma Vatsala refers to a person who lives according to religious principles. That is understood. Nonetheless, these two words have additional significance. Sometimes Lord Śiva has to deal with persons who are in the modes of passion and ignorance. Such persons are not always very much religious and pious in their activities, but since they worship Lord Śiva for some material profit, they sometimes obey the religious principles. As soon as Lord Śiva sees that his devotees are following religious principles, he blesses them. The Prachetas, sons of Prachinabarhi, were naturally very pious and gentle, and consequently Lord Śiva was immediately pleased with them. Lord Śiva could understand that the princes were sons of Vaishnavas, and as such Lord Śiva offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as follows. Text 27. Shri Rudra Uvacha Yuyam Vedi Sadha Putra Viditam Vas Chikirshitam Anugrahaya Bhadram Va Evam me darshanam kritam. Lord Śiva said, "You are all the sons of King Prachinabarhi, and I wish all good fortune to you. I also know what you are going to do, and therefore I am visible to you just to show my mercy upon you." Purport. By these words, Lord Śiva indicates that what the princes were going to do was known to him. It is a fact that they were going to worship Lord Vishnu by severe austerities and penances. Knowing this fact, Lord Śiva immediately became very pleased, as apparent by the next verse. This indicates that a person who is not yet a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but who desires to serve the Supreme Lord, receives the benedictions of the demigods headed by the chief demigod, Lord Śiva. Thus, a devotee of the Lord does not need to try to please the demigods separately. Simply by worshiping the Supreme Lord, a devotee can please all of them. Nor does he have to ask the demigods for material benedictions, for the demigods, being pleased with the devotee, automatically offer him everything that he needs. The demigods are servants of the Lord, and they are always prepared to help a devotee in all circumstances. Therefore, Srila Bilva Mangala Thakur said that if one has unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Lord, the goddess of liberation is ready to serve him, to say nothing of the gods of material opulences. Indeed, all the demigods are simply waiting for an opportunity to serve the devotee. Thus, there is no need for a devotee of Krishna to endeavor for material opulence or liberation. By being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he receives all the benefits of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Text 28. Yaparam ramhasa sakshat trigunaj jiva samgitat bhagavantam vasudevam prapanasa priyohi me. Lord Śiva continued, any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. Purport. Now Lord Śiva explains the reason he has personally come before the princes. It is because all the princes are devotees of Lord Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Bahunam janmanam ante janavam mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadorlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that there is. Such a great soul is very rare. Lord Śiva is rarely seen by common men, and similarly a person who is fully surrendered unto Vasudeva Krishna is also very rarely seen, because a person who is fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord is very rare, Samahatma Sadorlabha. Consequently, Lord Śiva came especially to see the Prachetas, because they were fully surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also mentioned in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Since Vasudeva is the ultimate truth, Lord Śiva openly proclaims that one who is a devotee of Lord Vasudeva, who is surrendered to Lord Krishna, is actually very dear to him. Lord Vasudeva Krishna is worshipable not only by ordinary living entities, but by demigods like Lord Śiva, Lord Brahma, and others. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaistavai. Bhagavatam 12.13.1. Krishna is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Śiva, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, and all other demigods. That is also the situation with a devotee. Indeed, one who takes to Krishna consciousness immediately becomes very dear to anyone who is simply finding out and beginning to understand what Krishna consciousness actually is. Similarly, all the demigods are also trying to find out who is actually surrendered to Lord Vasudeva. Because the Pracheta princes were surrendered to Vasudeva, Lord Śiva willingly came forth to see them. Lord Vasudeva, or Krishna, is described in Bhagavad Gita as Purushottama. Actually, he is the enjoyer, Purusha, and the supreme Uttama as well. He is the enjoyer of everything, the Prakriti and the Purusha. Being influenced by the three modes of material nature, the living entity tries to dominate material nature. But actually, he is not the Purusha, the enjoyer, but Prakriti, as described in Bhagavad Gita 7.5. Apareyam itistvanyam prakritim vidhi me param. Thus the jiva, or living entity, is actually Prakriti, or the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. Being associated with material energy, he tries to lord it over the material nature. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15.7. Mamhaivamso jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, manashastan indriyani, prakriti stani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. By endeavoring to dominate material nature, the living entity simply struggles hard for existence. Indeed, he struggles so hard to enjoy himself that he cannot even enjoy the material resources. Thus he is sometimes called Prakriti or Jiva, for he is situated in the marginal potency. When the living entity is covered with the three modes of material nature, he is called Jiva Samgita. There are two kinds of living entities. One is called Chara and the other is Akshara. Chara refers to those who have fallen down and become conditioned, and Akshara refers to those who are not conditioned. The vast majority of living entities live in the spiritual world and are called Akshara. They are in the position of Brahman, pure spiritual existence. They are different from those who have been conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Being above both the Chara and Akshara, Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, is described in Bhagavad Gita 15.18 as Purushottama. The impersonalists may say that Vasudeva is the impersonal Brahman, but actually the impersonal Brahman is subordinate to Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.27. Brahmano hi pratistaham. That Krishna is the source of the impersonal Brahman is also confirmed in Brahma Samhita 5.40. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti. The impersonal Brahman is nothing but the effulgence or bodily rays of Krishna, and in those bodily rays there are innumerable universes floating. Thus, in all respects, Vasudeva, Krishna, is the Supreme Lord, and Lord Śiva is very satisfied with those who are completely surrendered to him. Complete surrender is desired by Krishna, as he indicates in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarva dharmam purityaga mam ekam sharanam vraja. The word sakshat, meaning directly, is very significant. There are many so-called devotees, but actually they are only karmis and jnanis, for they are not directly devotees of Lord Krishna. The karmis sometimes offer the results of their activities to Lord Vasudeva, and this offering is called kamarpanam. These are considered to be fruitive activities, for the karmis considered Lord Vishnu to be one of the demigods like Lord Śiva and Lord Brahma. Because they consider Lord Vishnu to be on the same level with the demigods, they contend that surrendering to the demigods is as good as surrendering unto Vasudeva. This contention is denied herein, because if it were true, Lord Śiva would have said that surrender unto him, Lord Vasudeva, Vishnu, or Brahma, is the same. However, Lord Śiva does not say this, because he himself surrenders unto Vasudeva, and whoever else surrenders unto Vasudeva is very, very dear to him. This is expressed herein openly. The conclusion is that a devotee of Lord Śiva is not dear to Lord Śiva, but a devotee of Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Śiva. Hare Krishna. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 29 on Monday. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Nishringapali Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Ganga Mahi Yamuna Mahi Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan. Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bo. Dandavat Pranam.